Hi everybody, welcome to Live Blogger. I have combined all the videos in our animated homepage series into this single long video so that it's easy for you to follow. Now in this video, we are basically going to create this homepage right here using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. We also have this menu icon and we have the menu displayed over here. So we will design all of this from scratch using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. And this is also responsive. And in the end, I will also show you how to add this custom hero section to your Blogger website. And I will also leave the link of the source code in the description of this video. So let's get started. Right, so here I have created this folder called homepage and I just opened it with VS Code. And I also have this folder called images, and in that we have this image. And I have just removed the background of the image and I have saved it as a PNG file, and we're going to use this in our design. So let's start by creating the necessary files. So let's click on new file. Let's create a new file called index.html. Let's create another file called style.css, and we also need a JavaScript file. So let's create a new file called main.js. Alright, let's start with the index.html file. Now in VS Code you can just press exclamation and press tab and you'll have this basic HTML5 code. Right, now let's go ahead and link our CSS file over here. So let's tap link and press tab. And here in the href, let's tap style.css. And in the body, I'll just link the JavaScript file. So I'll just tap script, :src and press tab. And here I'll just tap main.js. Right, now let's start with the markup of our design. So the first thing we need to do is create this header section. So we have this logo on the left side and this icon on the right side. So let's go back and let's create a nav for these two elements. And for the logo, let's create an anchor tag. And here I'll just simply type logo. And then we need to have this icon. So for that, let's create a division and let's give it a class of menu icon. And in this, we will add the icon. So let's get the icon from heroicons.com. Right, so here I'm in heroicons.com and let's search for menu. And here we can see we have these icons. So let's copy this icon right here. So I'll just click on copy SVG. And let's go back and let's paste it over here inside this menu icon division. And now if we open this in our browser, so I have this extension called Live Server installed in VS Code. So once you have this installed, you can just right click in the HTML and click on Open with Live Server. And here we can see that our design is displayed in the browser. So here we have the logo and also this menu icon. Right, now let's create another division for these three elements. We have two headings and we have this image. So for that, let's go ahead and create a division and let's give it a class of hero. And in that, we'll create a division with the class of content. And in this, we will have this heading. So let's create an h2 for the heading and let's type live. And after that, we need to have the image. So let's create an img tag, and here in the src, let's type images /hero image.png. Then we need to have one more heading. So let's tap h2 and let's type blogger. And now we can see we have live and blogger displayed over here. We also have the image. All right, the next thing we need to have is this nav menu. And before that, let's go ahead and add everything inside a container division. And let's give it a class of hero container. And let's cut the ending tag from here and let's paste it down here. So now we have everything inside this main container division. Right, now let's create these menu items over here. So for that, I'll just create a division with the class of menu container. Now in this, the first thing we need to have is this close icon. So let's create a division with the class of close icon. And let's go back to hero icons and let's search for close. And let's copy this SVG from here and let's paste it over here. And after the close icon, we need to have the links. So here, let's create an anchor tag. And here you can add the link of your pages. I'll just type hash for now. And we need to have about, blog, FAQs, and contact. So let's add them over here. So I'll just type about, and I'll just duplicate this. And then we have blog, FAQs, and contact. Right, I think that's basically it with this HTML. Now let's go ahead and start with the CSS. So let's go to our CSS file, and the first thing we will do is we will get the link of the fonts. So here we are using this font called Montserrat for these two headings, and for all the other text we are using a font called Inter. So let's go ahead and get the font, and I'll get the fonts from fonts.google.com. Right here I'm in fonts.google.com, and let's search for Montserrat. And we need to have the bold font from here, so I'll just select this. And let's scroll down, and let's search for the bold font. So I think black 900 would be alright, so let's select this. And we also need to have the other font, which is Inter. So let's search for Inter, and let's click on the font, and we need to have the normal style. So let's go ahead and select regular 400. So here we can see we have these two fonts. Right now let's get the link. So you can copy the link for the HTML and also the link for CSS. I'll just copy this link from here, and let's copy this import link, and let's paste it in the CSS. Right now let's start with the styling of our design. So the first thing we need to do is we need to add some styles to the body. So here for the body, let's type font family, and let's set it to Inter and sans serif. And then let's also remove the default margin of the body. And now we can see we don't have any margin for the body. So here we can see we don't have any margins, and we also have the font changed to Inter. Right now let's go ahead and change the size of these icons. So here we can see for the icons we have close icon, and we have this icon called menu icon. So let's select those two icons. So just tap nav menu icon, and then let's tap menu container. So inside menu container we have this close icon, so let's tap close icon, and let's set the width of the icon to 40 pixels, and let's see how it looks. Let's go back, and here we can see we have the correct width for the icons. Right now the next thing we need to do is we need to add this background color for the body, and for that we're going to use a website called CSS Gradient. So you can just go to this website called cssgradient.io and go to backgrounds, and here you can search for backgrounds over here. So I'll just go to this gradient hunt, and here we have a lot of different backgrounds, so I'll just select one of these. I think I'll just copy this one right here, so let's click on copy gradient code, and let's paste it over here inside the body. And now we can see we have the background color added. Right now let's add a height for the hero division. So here we can see we have this division with the class of hero. So we will add a height of 100 viewport height. So let's tap hero, and let's set the height to 100 viewport height. Now let's go ahead and set a height for this image. The image is inside the hero division. So let's tap hero, img, and let's set the height of the image to 100 viewport height. Right now the next thing we need to do is we need to position this image and the two headings relative to the hero. So we will position the image to the bottom of the hero division. So for that, let's go back, and here for the hero division, let's set the position to relative. And now let's target the image and the headings. So let's tap hero, img, and hero h2. And let's set the position of all of these to absolute. Right now let's target the image, and we'll position the image to the bottom of the hero division. So here for the img tag, let's tap bottom and let's set it to 0. And right now the image is not exactly at the correct position. That's because we have this nav menu over here as well. So for now I'll just go ahead and hide this menu container. We'll start it later. So let's tap menu container, and let's set the display to none. And let's target the logo and this menu icon. So it is inside this nav element. So here we have this nav element. Now we need to set the position of this element to fixed, so that even if you scroll down, the nav element should be in a fixed place. So let's go ahead and type nav, and let's set the position to fixed. And now if we go back here, we can see that the image is exactly at the bottom. Right now, before styling the nav element, let's go ahead and position the image to the center. So here for the img tag, let's type left and let's set it to 50%. And now the image starts from the 50% mark. So here we also need to type transform, translate, and negative 50% for the x-axis. And for the y-axis, we need to set it to default. So now you can see that the image is exactly in the center. Right now, let's go ahead and style this nav element. So here we can see we have this logo on the left side, and we have the menu icon on the right side. So for that, let's target the nav, and here let's set a max width, and let's set it to 1000 pixels. And let's set the left position to 0 and the right position to 0 so that it has the complete width needed. And let's add a background color to see whether everything is being displayed correctly. So now we can see we have the correct width for the element. Now we want the logo on the left side and this icon on the right side. So for that, let's set the display to flex, and let's align items to the center and justify content to space between. And now we can see that the logo is on the left side and this icon on the right side. Now let's also add some padding. So I'll just have padding, and let's set the padding to 32 pixels top and bottom and 16 pixels left and right. But now we need to bring this to the center of the screen. So for that, let's type margin, and 0 for top and bottom and auto for left and right. And now it is exactly in the center. Now let's go ahead and remove this background color. Right now, let's style this logo. So for the logo, we have this anchor tag, and let's go ahead and type nav a, and first of all, let's set the font size to 20 pixels, and let's set the color of the text to 829 DFF, and let's remove the underline. So let's type text decoration and let's set it to none, and we'll also type text transform to uppercase. And I think for the logo, we have this bold style for the font. So let's get the link of that style as well from Google Fonts. Right here, we can see we have this Inter and Montserrat. And if you go to the Inter font, and if you scroll down, here we can see we also have this bold version. So it is bold 700. So let's go ahead and click on select bold 700. Now we can see that 700 and 400, both these styles are added. So let's go ahead and copy this import from here, and let's paste it over here. Right now, let's go ahead and type font weight bold. So now we can see we have the correct style for the font. Right now, let's style the menu icon. So here we have already added some styles for it. So here we have the menu icon. So let's set the color of the menu icon to white. Right now, let's also set the cursor to pointer for this menu icon. So when we hover over this, we need to have the cursor set to pointer. And right now, it is not setting the cursor to pointer. So for that, let's go ahead and go to the nav element. And we need to add a z index so that it's above all the other elements. So let's type z index of 200. And now we can see we have the cursor set to pointer when we hover over this. Right now, let's go ahead and style the two headings. So if you go back to the index.html file, here we can see that we have this h2 with live, and then we have another h2 with a text of blogger. So let's go ahead and first of all target the first h2. So let's type hero h2 colon first child. So this will select the first h2, and for the first h2, let's go ahead and set a font size of 300 pixels. And now if you select this, we can see that we have this h2 with a size of 300 pixels. Now before continuing with our styles for the first h2, let's go ahead and add some common styles to both the h2 elements. So let's go ahead and type hero h2, and let's set the font family of both the H2 to Montserrat and sans serif. And let's set the font weight to 900. And let's type text transform uppercase. And we'll set the color of the text to white. And we'll also remove all the default margins. So here we can see we have the first heading. And let's go ahead and add the other styles for the first H2. So first of all, let's change the color of the first H2 to this color right here. And let's also set the position of this element. So if you scroll up, here we can see that we have already set the position to absolute, and it will be positioned relative to the hero division right here, because for that we have set the position to relative. So here let's type bottom, and let's set the bottom position to 200 pixels. Let's set the left position to 50%. And now we can see it starts from the 50% mark. So just like we did for the image, let's type transform, translate, and negative 50% for the x-axis and 0 for y-axis. So right now the heading is in the center. Alright, now let's go ahead and target the second heading. So for that, let's type hero, h2 colon last child. So this will select the last element, which is the second one in our case. And for this, we will set the font size to 160 pixels. And let's set the bottom position to 60 pixels. And let's also bring it to the center. So let's tap left, 50%, transform, translate, negative 50% for the x-axis and 0 for y-axis. And for the second one, let's also add a little bit of rotation. So let's type rotate, and let's set it to negative 3 degrees. And let's also add text shadow. So let's type text shadow, and let's set the value to 1 pixel, 22 pixels, 12 pixels, RGBA 0, 0, 0, and 0.4. And now we can see we have this text shadow. And with that, we have styled the home page for our desktop version. We have designed everything, but we need to add the animation and also the functionality of this menu icon, and also make it responsive. So here we can see we have this animation for this page when we reload the page. And we also have the functionality of this menu icon. So we will do all of this in this video. Let's get started. Now the first thing we will do is we will add the functionality of this menu icon. But before that, we need to design this menu container over here. So if you go back to our HTML file, here we can see that we have created this division with the class of menu icon, and in that we have the close icon and these links. So first of all, let's style this menu container. I think we had added some styles for the menu container over here. So here we have set the display to none. So I just remove this, and we will set the display to flex. And let's set the position to fixed, and let's set the top position to 0, and let's set the right position to 0. And now we can see we have the menu container division displayed over here. Now we need to set the height of the element to 100 viewport height, and we'll also add a background color of white. Right now we need to display all these elements one below the other. So let's type flex direction. And let's set it to column, and we'll also add a fixed width for the element. So let's set the width to 300 pixels, and we'll also add some gap between the elements. So let's add a gap of 30 pixels, and let's set the font size of all the text to 28 pixels. And we need to bring this above all the other elements. So let's type z index, and let's set it to 300. And let's also add some padding. So let's type padding, and let's set the padding to 60 pixels. Now let's make all of this uppercase. So let's type text transform uppercase. Right now, let's go ahead and remove the underlines. So let's target the anchor tags inside the menu container. So let's type menu container A, and text decoration none. And let's set the color of all the text to 1F, 1F, 1F. Now when we hover over this, we need to have this underline and also change the color of the text. So let's go ahead and type menu container a:hover, and let's tap text decoration underline, and let's set the color of the text to this blue color right here. And now we can see that the hover effect is working alright. Now we need to position this close icon to the right side at the top over here. But before that, let's go ahead and bring this to the center of this division. So here, let's type justify content to the center. And now it is not exactly in the center, so for that we have to also type box sizing border box. And now it is exactly in the center, and we need to position this close icon over here at the top right. So let's target the close icon, and for that we have this division with the class of close icon. So let's tap menu container, close icon, and let's set the position to absolute, and let's set the top position to 32 pixels and the right position to 32 pixels. And let's also add a padding of 8 pixels and cursor to pointer. So that's it with our close icon. Now let's also add some box shadow for this menu container. So here, let's type box shadow, and let's set the value to negative 50 pixels, 0, 60 pixels, negative 8 pixels, RGBA, 0, 0, 0, and 0.4. And now we can see we have this box shadow. Now by default, we will position this menu container to the right of the screen. And when we click on the menu icon, we want it to be displayed from the right side to this current position. And we'll also set the opacity to 0 at the beginning. So here, let's type opacity 0, and let's tap transform translate X, and let's set it to 100%, which is outside the screen. So right now the menu container is outside the screen on the right side. Now when we click on this menu icon, we will add a class called active to the menu container. So let's add the styles for that. I'll just tap menu container dot active, and here we'll just reset the transform translate X. So let's tap transform translate X 0, and we'll also set the opacity to 1. And we need to have a smooth transition, so let's tap transition, and let's set the value to all 300 milliseconds ease in out. Right now, if we go back to our HTML, and here if we add a class called active to the menu container, now we can see that the menu container is being displayed, and if we remove the active class, it is hidden. So let's go ahead and quickly add the functionality of this menu icon. So for that, we need to reference the menu container because we need to add and remove the active class. We need to also reference the close icon because we need to remove the active class. And then we also need to reference the menu icon. So let's reference all of these elements in our JavaScript file. So we have already linked it over here. So let's type const menu container equals document.querySelector menu container, and const menu icon equals document.querySelector nav menu icon. And then we need to have the close icon. So let's type const close icon equals document.querySelector menu container close icon. Right now we need to add an event listener to this menu icon. So let's type menu icon dot add event listener, and let's listen for the click event. And here let's create an arrow function, and we need to add the active class to the menu container. So let's type menu container dot class list dot add active. Right now let's add an event listener to this close icon. So let's type close icon dot add event listener, and let's listen for the click event. And let's create an arrow function, and here we need to remove the active class from the menu container. So let's type menu container dot class list dot remove active, and let's test and see whether this works. So let's click on this menu icon, and we have the menu container displayed. And if I click on this close icon, it goes back. So it is working all right. Now let's make this page responsive. So let's go back to our CSS file and let's create a media query. So let's tap add media and let's set the max width to 900 pixels. So whenever the width of the browser window is less than 900 pixels, all these tiles inside this block will be added to our design. So the first thing we will do is we will change the font size of the headings. So let's type hero h2 colon first child, and let's go back and decrease the browser width a little bit. Now if you want to see the width of the browser window, you can just go ahead and open the inspector, and now if we decrease or increase the width of the browser window, here you can see that on the top right corner we can see that the width and the height of the browser window is displayed. So let's go a little bit less than 900 pixels and let's go back, and here let's set the font size to 240 pixels, and let's set the bottom position. So here we have set the bottom position to 200 pixels, and let's set the font size to 240 pixels. So here we can see that we had set it to 300 pixels. Here we can see now we have a smaller font size. For the larger screens, we have larger font size. Alright, let's do the same for the second h2. So let's tap hero h2 colon last child, and let's set the font size to 140 pixels. And let's also change the bottom position a little bit. So here we have set it to 60 pixels. So here let's type bottom and let's set it to 80 pixels. And I think that looks alright. Right, now let's add one more media query for 700 pixels. So let's copy this and let's paste it down here. And here let's type 700. And let's decrease the width of the browser window even more. And here, let's set the font size to 180 pixels for the first heading. And for the second heading, let's go ahead and change the font size to 90 pixels. And let's also change the height of the image. So let's type hero img and let's set the height to 90 viewport height. And this is how it looks. So now it is completely responsive. Alright, now the last thing we need to do is add the animation that you see at the beginning. So if you go back, here we can see we have this animation for all these elements. So let's add that. Now for the animation, let's create a keyframe. So let's tap add keyframes. And for the name, I'll just name it anim. And here we can add the keyframes for the animation. So we can type 0%, 1%, up to 100%. And if you're writing 100%, you can just type 2 instead of 100%. And for 0, you can just type from. So I'll just type 2. And we'll just add the last state over here. So here we will set the opacity to 1. And we'll also reset the transform translate. So let's tap transform translate. And let's set it to negative 50% and 0. And now let's go ahead and add this animation. So here for the first h2, by default we will set the y-axis value to 120 pixels, and this is where this element starts at the beginning. And we'll also set the opacity to 0 at the beginning. And here let's add the animation. So let's tap animation, and we have named it anim, and we will run it for 1900 milliseconds. And we'll set the easing to ease, and then we need to type forwards so that the animation stays at the last state. And now we can see we have the animation. So let's refresh the page. So we have the animation for the first heading. Right, now let's go ahead and add the animation for the second heading. Now for the second heading, if you go back to the original design, here we can see that it comes from the right side to the left. So for that, let's go over here to the second h2, and we need to change the initial position of this x-axis. So let's tap calc negative 50% plus 100 pixels. and this is where it starts. So let's set the opacity to 0, and let's add the animation. So I'll just copy this and let's paste it down here. And for this one, let's set the duration to 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. And now if you go back, here we can see that both the animations are starting at the same time. Now we need to add some delay for the second animation. So here, let's tap animation delay and let's set the delay to 500 milliseconds. And now we can see that the animation starts a little late for the second H2. Right now, let's add the animation for the image. So if you go back to the original design, we can see that the image also comes in from the right side. So let's scroll up, and here we have the image. So here in the x-axis, we need to change the value. So let's tap calc, negative 50% plus 200 pixels. And we will set the opacity to 0 by default. And we'll set the animation to anim. And for the duration, I'll just have 500 milliseconds. And let's set it to ease forwards. And let's also add an animation delay. So let's tap animation delay. And let's set it to 600 milliseconds. So this is how it looks. And everything looks all right. Alright, so with that, we have completed creating this animated homepage using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Right here, I'm in the dashboard of my Blogger website, and the theme that I'm using is called Notable Light, which comes by default with Blogger. So if I just open this website for now, this is how it looks right now. So now let's go ahead and add our design of the hero section to this Blogger homepage. So for that, we need to make some changes in the theme code. So let's click on this arrow and let's click on Edit HTML. And here we need to add the code of this design. And I will leave the link of the source code in the description of this video. So here I have opened the project in my VS Code. And this is the code of our design. So let's add this code to our Blogger theme code. So the first thing we need to do is we need to remove this header from here. And in place of this header, we need to add our current header. So let's right click over here and let's click on inspect. And let's see how this page is structured. And here we can see that we have this header element. And after that, we have the other elements. So we need to replace this header tag with our design. So let's go ahead and search for the header. So I'll just press Command F. And if you're using Windows, you can just press Control F. And let's search for header. And here we can see we have the header. So I'll just fold it. And we can just delete this header from here. Now before deleting this, just create a backup of this code somewhere so that if you need it, you can get it back. So for now, I'll just go ahead and delete it. And now if I just go ahead and type something over here, so I'll just type h1 test. And let's save it. And now let's go back to our website and let's refresh this page. And now we can see instead of the header, we have test displayed. Now we know that we are writing the code in the correct place. So let's go ahead and add our HTML over here. So let's go back to our source code, and this is the HTML file. So let's copy the HTML inside the body. And let's copy it till here, and let's paste it right here. Now here we need to make a couple of changes. So the first thing we need to do is change the src of this image. So right now it is set to images/heroimage.png. Now this images folder is not there in our Blogger website. So we need to upload the image somewhere and get the link and paste it over here. So I'll just upload the image in our Blogger website itself. So I'll just go to the Blogger dashboard. And here let's go to pages and let's create a new page. And I'll just title it images. We're not going to publish this page. I'll just keep it as a draft. And let's click on insert image and let's click on upload from computer. And let's click on choose files. And here we have the hero image. So let's open it. And let's select the image and let's click on select. And let's click on original size and OK. And here we have the image. So let's copy the link of the image which is inside the href. So let's copy it from here, and we can go ahead and close this. And here let's add the link. I'll just paste the link over here. Alright, now the next thing we will do is we will add the CSS. So let's go to our style.css file and let's copy the CSS from here. So I'll just copy from this line of code. We'll not change the styles of the body, and let's copy it till the end, and let's paste it in the CSS section. So let's scroll up, and here we have all the CSS of the theme code. So let's go to the end of the CSS. Let's create a comment, and let's tap custom hero section, and let's paste the CSS over here. Right, now let's go back, and here we can see we have some styles inside the body. So we have the styles for the background color, and we also have the font family set over here. So we need to add these styles somewhere. So if we go back to the HTML file, here we can see that we have this main container division which has a class of hero container. So let's add the styles of the body to this hero container. So let's go back, and here let's search for the hero container selector. And I don't think we have the hero container selector added anywhere. So I'll just create the selector over here. So let's tap .hero container, and let's go back, and let's paste the CSS from here, and let's paste it over here. And we don't need to add the margin. Right, now the next thing we need to do is we need to also copy the import of the fonts. So let's copy this, and let's paste it at the top. So you can paste it at the beginning of your CSS as well. So I'll just paste it at the beginning. Right, so here the CSS is starting, so I'll just paste the import over here. Right, now the last thing we need to do is add the JavaScript. So let's scroll down and let's go to the end of our theme code. And here, just before the body ends, I'll just create a script tag. So let's go back and let's copy the JavaScript. So let's go to the main.js file, and let's copy all this code from here, and let's paste it over here. Right, now let's click on save, and let's go back to our website, and let's refresh this page. And here we can see we have the hero section displayed, but we have some problems in the styling. So let's fix that. Here we can see that the text is displayed in several lines. So let's right click over here, and let's go to inspect, and let's see what styles we have in the theme. So let's scroll down, and here we can see in the theme we have this style called word break, and it is set to break word. So we need to set it to normal, and now we can see that it looks alright, and the menu icon is also working alright. So we need to fix that. So let's go back, and let's go to the CSS, and let's go to the container division which is hero container, and here let's add the code. So let's have word break normal, and let's click on save, and let's go back to our website, and let's reload this page, and now we can see everything looks alright. Right, now the next thing we will do is when we scroll down, we can see that the logo and the icon are not displayed correctly. So when we scroll down, we will just add a background color to this. So let's do that. Let's go back, and we will add some styles when we scroll down a little bit. So we'll add the styles to the nav. So if you go back to the HTML, here we can see we have this nav, and in that we have the logo and the menu icon. So here let's type nav.scrolled. So we will add a class called scrolled when we scroll down, and we will have some styles over here. So let's add a background color, and let's set it to RGBA 0, 0, 0 and 0.8, and we'll also add some blur. So let's tap backdrop filter, and let's set it to blur, and we'll set the value to 30 pixels, and let's also change the padding a little bit. So right now we have a lot of padding, so when we scroll down we will reduce the padding a little bit. So let's right click, and let's go to the inspector, and let's see what is the padding right now. So right now the padding is set to 32 and 16. So let's go back, and here we will set the padding to 8 pixels and 24 pixels. Now when we go from the nav state to the nav scrolled state, we will have a smooth transition. So for that, let's type transition and let's set it to all 300 milliseconds ease. Right now the next thing we need to do is when we scroll down a little bit, we need to add this scrolled class to the nav. So let's go to the JavaScript for that. And here, first of all, let's target the nav. So let's type const nav equals document dot query selector. And here let's type hero container. And in that we have the nav. Right now let's add an event listener to the window. So let's type window dot add event listener. And let's listen for the scroll event. And let's create an arrow function. And here let's add an if condition, and let's check whether the window dot scroll y value is greater than 300 pixels. So if we scroll more than 300 pixels, then we will add the scrolled class to the nav. So let's type nav.classList.add scrolled. Let's add an else, and here we'll just remove the class. So let's type nav.classList.remove scrolled. Right now let's save this. And now let's go back to our website and let's reload this page. And now let's scroll down. And when we scroll down more than 300 pixels, we have the scrolled class added to this nav, and everything looks alright. Now the next thing we will do is we will add this hero section only on the home page. So if you go to this post, here also we can see that the hero section is being displayed. Now we want to display the hero section only on the home page. So for that, let's add an if condition. So let's go to the HTML, and here is our HTML. So if you scroll down, here we have the hero. So we need to add this hero only on the home page. So here let's type less than b colon if, and here let's add a condition, and let's set the condition to data colon view dot is home page, and let's close the if condition after this hero division. So let's type b colon if, and now let's save this. And let's go back to our website, and let's reload this page. And now we can see that when we are on a post, we don't have the hero section displayed. But if we go back to the home page, here we can see that the hero section is being displayed. And in the post page, we don't have the hero section displayed. But here we can see that the nav doesn't look good because of this light background color. So what we will do is we will remove the functionality of adding and removing the scrolled class when we scroll down, when we are not on the home page, and we'll permanently add the scrolled class to the nav when we are on a different page. So here what we will do is in the nav, let's create a blogger element called b class. So let's type less than b colon class. Now this tag is used to add class to the parent element based on a condition. So here let's add the condition, and the condition is gonna be not the home page. So let's type not data colon view dot is home page. So if this is not the home page, then this condition will be true. And here we need to add a name, and here we need to add the class. So we will add the class called scrolled. So let's close this. Now what will happen is that if the current page is not the home page, then the scrolled class will be added to the parent, which is the nav. And if it is the home page, then this class will not be added. Let's scroll down, and let's also remove the functionality from here. So let's cut this from here, and we will execute this code only if you are on the home page. So here let's add an if condition. So let's type b colon if cond, and here let's type data colon view dot is home page, and let's close the if condition over here, and let's create a script tag, and let's paste the code over here. So this code will be executed only when we are on the home page. This is the code for adding and removing the scrolled class to the nav based on the scroll. So let's save this. Right now, let's go back to our website and let's reload this page. And here we can see we already have this scrolled class because we are on a post page. So let's go to the home page and let's add the link of the home page over here for the logo. So let's copy this link from here. Let's go to our HTML. And here for the logo, I'll just paste the link of the home page and let's save it. Let's go back to our website and let's reload this page. And let's click on the logo. And here we are on the home page. Now here we have a different color for the logo. That's because if you go back to the inspector, here we can see that in the theme, it already has some color added to the visited links. So we need to override this. Let's go back to our code. Let's go to the CSS. And here let's type nav a:visited. And let's copy this same color and let's paste it over here. And let's save it. Now let's go back to our website and let's reload this page. And now we can see we have the correct color. So everything is working all right. And now you can go ahead and add your links over here. So here we have the about, blogs page, FAQs and contact. So you can create pages for these. And if you go back to the HTML, here we have the anchor tags. So you can add the links of your pages over here instead of these hashes. And you can change all of these to whatever you want. Alright, so that's basically how you can add this custom hero section to your Blogger website. And that's basically it for this video. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below. And if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.